Okay, there we have it. I think we're pretty much done with soldering on this particular battery. What you didn't get to see me do was put on my positive and my negative lead, again due to technical difficulties. Anyway, we've got our meter on now. This will need to be attached somewhere at some point, but for now it can just hang loose. Let's go ahead and check things out here now. Let's connect up our cell meter 7. Okay, we'll put it on to the type Li-ion. 10.200 volts. 10.2 volts. This one doesn't go quite as many in digits. So now let's check this out. So now we get to test out our new leads here. And there we go. We got 10.18 volts. So a slight bit of difference there. But 0.2 of a volt is not too much. Alrighty. Well, I'm pretty happy. So let's go ahead and see. This cell meter 7 will also balance my cells. So if you hold down the type, there we go. It'll go through a balance mode now. And it was so close, it went through it one time and it's all good. So cell number 1, 3.404 volts. Number 2 is 3.398 volts and 3.404 volts for number 3. So that's pretty good. Well, the next thing to do now is to put this on the IMAX B6 and let it charge up. We'll balance charge it to get everything back up. That's probably going to take the rest of the day, if not longer than that. So that's going to be our next step. We'll go set that up right now. Okay, there's our power supply back there. Our battery all hooked up to the balance charger. Still showing 10.2 volts there on that little meter. And now finally the IMAX B6. I've got it set to LiPo balance. I've got it set at 6 amps, a maximum 11.1 volts, 3S pack. So this thing should take care of this, but I think it's going to take a long time because there's a lot of cells there. So let's go ahead and give it a start. Checking things out, and it says it's all good, so let's go ahead and start it. Alrighty, putting 6 amps into it, and that's okay when you have that many cells. If you only had one cell there, you would only want to put a half an amp into it, otherwise it'll get too hot. But I'm dealing with 36 cells, and 6 amps will be just fine for that. So we're at 10.89 volts. The little meter on the battery has bumped up to 10.5 volts. So it's putting some in there. Okay, it's been over half an hour. And I'm still shooting out 6 amps, and the IMAX is getting really hot. That thing is really warm. And perhaps it's too much for it. The battery seems to be doing good. Yeah, I'm already up to 11.45 volts. So I think I'm going to shut it off. There we go, because it is getting really, really warm. Okay, it's the next day now. And I've really lost count of how many hours I've been charging this first battery bank because I have to keep shutting the IMAX on and off. Well, it's been at least 6 times, and it's pretty warm because I don't want to burn it up. It's a real cheap charger. It does a lot of good stuff, but it's not very expensive, and I don't believe it's gonna last forever by any means. But it is doing the job, and I don't really want to destroy it because I don't want to have to buy a new one, but it's probably a lot trying to, it's going through a lot trying to charge that up. So I, this morning, have noticed now that the amps have finally started to drop down, and that's good. So that means it'll start not getting so hot. But I'm already up to 12.6, so it's just about full. It's actually dropping pretty rapidly, even though it just went up. But I think maybe within an hour or so, this thing will be completely done. And then we can start on the other battery. Okay, the first 36 cell pack is done, finally. It took several days to get this balance charged up. Once the reason it took so long is I had to keep shutting the iMax off because it was getting so hot. The iMax is, I had it set for the highest amperage, which is 6 amps, and it just would get really, really hot. And I'd shut it off because I didn't want to burn the thing up. But once the amperage started to drop down as it was getting charged, I'd left it go, and it went for a whole day. And of course it didn't get as hot because it's not pulling so many amps. So anyway, it is done now. The capacity controller, I just plugged that in. 12.53 volts. The little meter here is telling me I got 12.5, and I just checked it with the Innova as well, and it told me I got 12.51 volts, so everything seems pretty good here. So the next thing I'm going to do, I want to make sure absolutely every cell in here is fully charged. Even though I checked this thing out with the continuity tester to make sure the connections are good, I want to go ahead and check each individual cell now and make sure that they are all at the same voltage. Okay, I just checked everything out and it is all good. Each cell is basically at 4.15 volts, so that's good to go. So now the next thing to do is to get some cardboard out and start wrapping this thing up and making sure that it's secured so that it won't touch anything and short out. You could just leave it like this, but I'm going to go ahead and protect it anyway. And then finally, the final thing I'll do is we'll actually get this glued, probably something like that, right about there. So let's go ahead and get that started right now.